Have you ever felt mentally drained, as if your own mind was your worst enemy, constantly pulling you down? Imagine carrying a backpack full of stones while trying to climb a mountain. Each stone represents a habit that, though seemingly harmless, makes your journey much harder. Now ask yourself, which of these stones am I unknowingly carrying? In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a garden. If we cultivate the right seeds, such as mindfulness and compassion, we experience peace and clarity. But if we let weeds like clinging to the past or fearing change take over, we end up weakening our inner strength. Many of us carry habits that drain our mental energy, often without realizing it. These habits not only make daily challenges harder to overcome, but also create invisible barriers between us and a fulfilling life. Today, we'll explore the 5 habits that weaken your mind, according to Buddhism, and uncover how to let go of them to achieve a stronger, more balanced and resilient mindset. This is an invitation to look within, release what no longer serves you, and plant the right seeds for a more peaceful life. Habit 1. Ruminating about the past. Have you ever noticed how the mind can get stuck in a loop, constantly revisiting moments that have already passed? It's like watching a sad movie on repeat, hoping the ending will change. This habit of ruminating about the past is one of the biggest thieves of mental peace and is deeply rooted in our desire for control and resolution. In Buddhism, there is a fundamental teaching about impermanence, or anicca. This concept reminds us that everything in life is in constant flux. Emotions, situations, and even our thoughts. We ruminate because we wish to find answers or relive something that is gone, but the truth is, the past cannot be changed. Instead, rumination traps us in a cycle of suffering, preventing us from fully experiencing the present moment. Buddha often used metaphors to explain these ideas. In one of his teachings, he compared clinging to the past to holding onto a burning coal. The longer you hold it, the more it burns you. Letting go of the coal, accepting that the past is gone, is the only way to free yourself from this pain. To overcome this habit, a Buddhist practice called mindfulness meditation is highly effective. By sitting quietly and observing your breath, you train your mind to focus on the present and release repetitive thoughts about the past. Modern studies, such as those conducted by Harvard University in 2019, have shown that regular mindfulness practice significantly reduces anxiety and depression associated with rumination. So, if you find yourself revisiting old mistakes or resentments, remember this. The past is a lesson, not a sentence. Use those experiences as learning tools, but don't let them define your present or future. With every conscious breath, you take a step toward mental freedom and inner peace. Habit 2. Constantly comparing yourself to others. Have you ever noticed how comparing yourself to others can drain your mental energy? Whether in daily life or on social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth based on others' achievements, appearance, or success. This habit, though common, undermines self-confidence and creates a cycle of perpetual dissatisfaction. In Buddhism, there is a powerful teaching about mudita, or sympathetic joy. This concept encourages cultivating happiness for the success of others, rather than allowing envy and comparison to dominate our thoughts. Comparing yourself is like running on a treadmill. You put in effort but never move forward because you're focused on someone else's path instead of your own. Constant comparison also disconnects us from the practice of gratitude. When we're stuck in thoughts of what I lack, we forget to acknowledge what we already have. In Buddhism, the path to inner peace begins with self-acceptance and recognizing that every being has their own unique pace. A 2020 study from Stanford University found that excessive comparison on social media is directly linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. This happens because social media presents idealized versions of people's lives, reinforcing the idea that we're not enough. Buddhism invites us to break free from this mental trap by practicing mindfulness and focusing on our own growth. One practical way to start is to replace comparison with appreciation. The next time you feel envious of someone's success, ask yourself, what can I learn from this person? How can their journey inspire mine? This mindset shift transforms competition into growth and fosters a sense of community and interconnectedness, which is central to Buddhist philosophy. Remember, you are unique and your journey is yours alone. Comparing yourself diverts energy from where it truly matters, your own transformation. Embrace your achievements, celebrate those of others, and continue planting seeds of self-confidence and inner peace. Habit 3. Ignoring your emotions. How many times have you told yourself, "I'm fine," when deep down you were feeling overwhelmed? Ignoring your emotions might seem like a way to cope, but over time, it creates a barrier between you and your inner peace. This habit not only weakens the mind, but also stifles emotional and spiritual growth. In Buddhism, one of the core teachings is sati, the practice of mindfulness. Being aware of your emotions without judging or suppressing them is the first step toward transformation. Buddha taught that denying our emotions is like trying to block a river's flow. Instead of stopping, it finds other ways to surge, often causing damage in unexpected areas of our lives. When you ignore your emotions, they don't disappear, they accumulate. This buildup can manifest as anxiety, stress, or even physical symptoms like headaches or insomnia. Modern studies, such as those conducted by the American Psychological Association in 2018, show that people who acknowledge and process their emotions have lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and greater mental resilience. A practical example of how Buddhism approaches this is the practice of observing emotions as if they were clouds in the sky. They come and go, changing shape and intensity. The key is to accept them as part of the human experience without clinging to or trying to control them. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? This simple question can shift your perspective and pave the way for emotional healing. Instead of ignoring what you feel, learn to deeply connect with your emotions. See them as teachers, bringing important lessons about yourself. When you accept your emotions as part of who you are, you take the first step toward freeing your mind and cultivating true inner peace. Habit 4. Resisting change. Have you ever felt uneasy when faced with an inevitable change? Perhaps it's a new phase in life, the end of a relationship, or even switching jobs. Resisting what is new is a natural reaction, but clinging to what's familiar often creates unnecessary suffering. In Buddhism, the concept of anicca, or impermanence, teaches us that everything in life is temporary. Nothing stays the same forever. Clinging to what was or what we wish things could be prevents us from flowing with life and embracing its cycles of beginnings and endings. Just as the seasons change, our journey must evolve as well. Imagine a tree resisting the wind. The more it fights against the gusts, the more likely its branches are to break. Similarly, when we resist change, we become more susceptible to emotional and mental suffering. Instead, Buddhism invites us to be like bamboo, flexible in the face of adversity, yet deeply rooted in acceptance. Resisting change is often tied to a fear of the unknown. Our brain craves safety and predictability, but the truth is that uncertainty is a part of every step we take. Buddhist teachings encourage us to face these changes with curiosity, seeing them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Practices like acceptance meditation, also known as vipassana, can help us observe changes without judgment. When you become aware of the transient nature of things, you realize that even in difficult moments, there is something to learn. Remember, Resistance only prolongs discomfort. Acceptance, on the other hand, brings peace and opens the door to new possibilities. Instead of resisting, ask yourself, what can this change teach me? How can I grow from this experience? By doing so, you transform resistance into a pathway for mental and spiritual resilience. Habit 5. Seeking absolute control. Have you ever tried to control every detail of your life, only to realize that the more you try, the more things seem to slip through your fingers? The relentless pursuit of control is a habit that not only drains your mental energy, but also creates frustration and anxiety. In Buddhism, the practice of upekkha, or equanimity, teaches us to accept things as they are, without forcing them to align with our expectations. The reality is that life is full of variables beyond our control, from other people's actions to unforeseen events. When we insist on controlling everything, we create an internal conflict that disconnects us from inner peace. Imagine being in a boat adrift on the ocean during a storm. You could fight the waves, trying to force them to calm down, or you could accept that the sea has its own rhythm and find ways to navigate it wisely. This metaphor perfectly illustrates what happens when we try to control the uncontrollable. The effort is futile and leaves us mentally exhausted. The solution lies in shifting our focus. Instead of trying to control external circumstances, Buddhism encourages us to develop control over our own mind and reactions. This includes recognizing when we're acting out of fear or insecurity, and instead choosing responses rooted in awareness and calmness. A practical tool is breath meditation, which helps anchor your attention in the present moment. Whenever you feel the need to control something beyond your reach, return to your breath and ask yourself, is this really within my control? Often, the answer is no. And by accepting this, we make room for things to flow naturally. Remember, absolute control is an illusion. True mental strength lies in knowing where your influence ends and finding peace within that reality. Accepting life's flow is not giving up. It's trusting that, even without full control, you have the ability to adapt and thrive. Throughout life, we all carry habits that shape the way we think and feel. Some of these habits strengthen us, while others silently weaken our mental resilience. Buddhism teaches us that true transformation begins with awareness, the ability to recognize what holds us back and make space for what truly matters. The habits we've explored here, like clinging to the past, constant comparison, or the relentless pursuit of control, do not define who you are. They are temporary obstacles on a path you can redesign at any moment. Mental strength doesn't come from perfection, but from the ability to begin again, one step at a time. Think of your mind as a garden. Every choice you make is a seed. Would you rather grow flowers that bring peace and clarity, or let weeds take over your inner space? Recognizing these patterns is the first step to planting the right seeds, those that bloom into harmony, resilience, and wisdom. If any of these habits resonated with you, take it as a call to action. Small changes have the power to create big transformations. Start with one habit, practice mindfulness, and watch as a stronger, more serene mind begins to grow. This journey doesn't have to be walked alone. Subscribe to this channel to continue exploring paths of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Together, we can transform our mental gardens and our lives.